Welcome to Climate Briefing's news roundup for the week ending Friday the 7th of April 2017. In Colombia, President Santos has blamed climate change for the flooding and mudslides which struck the city of Mocoa on Saturday and which left 314 people dead. After one-third of the usual monthly rainfall fell in just one night, rivers burst their banks, sending water and mud cascading down streets and into houses as people slept. By Friday, the search for survivors was formally abandoned, with 106 people still unaccounted for. Efforts were refocused on distributing aid and avoiding the spread of disease in a city where water and power are still unavailable. On Wednesday, the tail end of Cyclone Debbie, which hit Australia last week, caused extensive flooding and landslides in New Zealand. Thousands were evacuated as floodwaters surged after rain so torrential that meteorologists are calling it a once-in-a-500-year event. By Friday, a major clean-up was underway, with emergency services working to open roads and restore power to isolated communities. European energy companies have pledged not to build any new coal-fired power stations in the EU after 2020. Hailed as the beginning of the end of coal, the initiative has the backing of every EU country except Poland and Greece. The announcement follows a year in which the construction of new coal plants fell by nearly two-thirds across the globe. A report by the European Environment Agency says a surge in the use of renewable energy helped Europe to cut its consumption of fossil fuels and its greenhouse gas emissions by around 10% in 2015. Renewables made up 16.7% of the energy mix, which places the EU well on course to reach its target of 20% by 2020. However, the report said that Europe is still not deploying renewables quickly enough, nor is it reducing the use of fossil fuels fast enough to keep increases in global warming to less than 2 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. A coalition of 17 American states has filed a legal challenge to counter President Trump's attempt to roll back Obama-era climate change regulations. Last week, the president signed an executive order targeting 6 climate change initiatives and the Clean Power Plan, a measure that was intended to curb carbon emissions from coal-fired power plants. The coalition challenging Trump's move, led by the state of New York, is insisting that the new administration has a legal obligation to regulate carbon emissions. This has been a Climate Briefing news roundup. Details of these and other stories can be found at climatebriefing.org.